Coming up next on the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast.
There's a million different ways of doing it. Don't sell to some mythical person out there what you think people want. Sell to what you want. Seriously, what do you want?
From your first dollar to your first million, welcome to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast, presented by ZenMade. Join your host, Stephanie Pipkin, founder of Serene Clean, as she shares proven tips, tricks, and hard-earned lessons. Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, get ready to discover how to build your own cleaning empire. Let's roll up our sleeves and dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast. I am your host, Stephanie from Serene Clean, and today's fantastic guest, Katie Pearse, is with us today from Glisten Academy, and I am so excited for you guys to hear her story, and it is truly astounding, all of the things she's built in her years in the cleaning industry. So, Katie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And as I just alluded to, you have been in the cleaning industry now for 15 years? 2008, right?
Almost 20, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a while, right?
Time flies.
Don't think too deeply about that one.
Yeah,
it's been a long time, yeah.
Exactly. Well, take me back to you starting your cleaning business. Where were you at in your personal life? What prompted that to happen?
So it was a long time ago, and I was a marketing expert, specialist. I was working for a large organization, and a lot of the digital marketing was really starting to explode. So, Facebook advertising was just getting started, and I was working for this organization, and we had our target audience was a lot of high school and young people. And I thought, oh, we should be using this to advertise to them. And of course, my employers were just, not interested in that. And I was just really in charge of so many web projects and really excited about digital marketing. And I just couldn't get my employers, buy-in. And so I thought, on the other side, because I was such a busy sort of career woman with my, brand new house, I just couldn't stay on top of my cleaning. And I'm, kind of a messy, person, I'll admit it. So I didn't know much about cleaning. And I thought I really need to get a cleaning company in here to help me with, keeping my house, clean. And so I was trying and sort of really failing at getting anybody decent to come in and really do this professionally. And so it just kind of clicked. And I thought, why don't I do this? Like, I could start a cleaning company and I could take everything I know about digital marketing and this amazing new ability to do pay-per-click ads with Facebook and Google ads and MailChimp and everything. And I could sell cleaning services. Like, why am I wasting all this sort of knowledge? And I just knew I could do it. So I thought, I had this friend at the time who was an excellent cleaner. And I said, if you teach me how to clean, I will come with you. I will clean with you, after work and on the weekends, and I'll make a website and I'll find all the customers and just teach me how to do it. And let's go do this. So this was again a really long time ago, but we got these like lime green, tank tops, and we called it Green Clean Squad. And we just hit the road, after I was working, 40 hours a week at my regular job. And we just started it, I guess, as what you would call a side hustle nowadays. And it just, we had online booking, online quotes, all of that stuff. And so it just, exploded instantly. And within, a couple months, I was able to quit my job. And I just knew I had something really special, with a lot of, I guess, potential. And we just started hiring. And yeah, that was it. And here I am, so
Long story short.
again, right. And, I've never done any other kind of business. This is just it. I've just been obsessed with cleaning this entire time for many, many reasons. Again, I think it goes to the fact that I'm, by nature, not a very clean person. So I really do take it very, very seriously. I don't think it's I think there's a very emotional aspect to cleaning. Now I have a young daughter myself. Back then, I was a single person with a lot of time to devote to starting a business. Now I'm even more my client, the typical sort of residential client with a really busy home life who, feels guilty about their house and wants to bring in help and is prepared to pay for it. So I really understand my client even better nowadays. And I just think that what we offer is just such an important service, to people. And then on top of that, I just think it's the best business ever. I think it's incredible. It's easy to get started in it. And, to have recurring customers, and people who will sign up for, 6 months at a time or 12 months at a time and stay with you year after year after years, sometimes decades, I just think it's just the most incredible industry to be in. So I absolutely love it. So glad that, on a whim, I decided to do it and saw potential to do something. And, here I am all these years later and still just loving it.
That's amazing. And I can so relate to like this, that side hustle mentality, because that's exactly where I was of like, I just need to make some money. It was on the side of my full-time
Right.
job. Like I had no intention for it to be really anything more than that. But just as you experienced, it was like, as soon as it opened, it's like, oh crap, like this is the potential here
Right?
is
Just
sickening.
snowballs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's sort of exactly it. Like I always feel like it's sort of this runaway freight train. Like that's the only way I could describe it because it was just it's so successful. And I've started it, more than once in different markets. And even with all the experience you have, you just never seem to even get all the infrastructure in place because even if you start it all over again, it's still different market, new software, new expectations, new everything. And it's like, even when I've started another company all these years later, it's like, I still don't have everything, to keep up with the demand and everything. I just think it's the most incredible, business to be in. I can't be more passionate about encouraging, everyone from like all walks of life, all genders, everything to do it. I just think that it's such a need. And again, if you want to do residential, commercial, industrial, just anything, in any capacity, in any, post construction, if you want to specialize in luxury cleaning, like residential, like I do, any of that stuff. Like there's just so many niches you can get involved with in so many different markets. And I just think it's the best industry,
It really
as I'm sure
is.
you do
And
too.
something I'll do sometimes if I'm ever feeling like, oh, like maybe leads aren't where I want it to be or whatever. It's like just
Hmm.
drive through literally any area. It's like every single
Everywhere.
building that you pass needs cleaning. Everywhere without
I think it
exception.
every single day. It is. It's like I mean, it can't be a more optimistic thing, right? Because you're right. Like there are days, of course, and my job nowadays is extremely different than it was even 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I feel like my job now, because my company is so large, and again, now it's cross-border, USA and Canada, and multiple cities and multiple industries. I feel like now it's so much more compliance. That's like what I do all day. I'm more like a CEO of compliance. It's just, am I following all the government regulations? Am I every occupational health and safety law am I following? Like that is what I do all day, every day. Labor laws, everything, right? That is a far cry from what I did, even 10 years ago, where it was just like, oh, I get to come up with amazing marketing campaigns. And like that's like as a creative, in my heart, that's really what I love doing. So, yes, sometimes it's like, oh, I just spent another week doing nothing but reading through contracts and writing contracts and bylaws and, procurement and things like that, right? So, yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, this isn't quite the creative, fun stuff. But then, like, yes, every day that I'm driving, even my daughter to school and home, it's like you drive past a church that's being built. You drive past a mansion and you're just like, ooh, right?
Yes.
Like everywhere. It's like, I love
I
this.
know. It's so funny. I did the same thing where I'm
Opportunity
like,
everywhere.
I bet they need cleaning. Like, I bet they could use some,
Right.
like, that's literally my
They do. Everyone and everywhere you go and everyone you talk to, right? Like if it's your neighbor, if it's, your doctor, it doesn't matter, right? So it's like, I don't know. I just think and again, it can be a luxury, it can be a necessity. It's just, again, every angle. It's cleaning. It's great. And it can be fun. It can be boring. It can just be, again, like, oh, it's just mopping. So, again, janitorial work, you can just be like, we're just in the background. You never see us. You don't have to worry about us. We're just there after hours. Or on the other side with my residential, where it's like over the top luxury with the NHL players and stuff, it's like we are here, like doing, $1 million, mansions and gift baskets and everything is just like over the top luxury concierge service. And it's like, you can just do it all, right? So and especially for people maybe who tend to be a little bit more entrepreneurial. So, dare I say, we're a little bit more, I don't want to throw around ADHD, but maybe a little like, yeah, we need a little bit of
Why
that
is every female person
inspiration.
I talk to today? I've done my second interview today, and I have ADHD. So did she. So do you.
Well, it's like, I don't know. And maybe it's not, exactly that, but it's like definitely, it obviously doing the same thing in and out every day is a different type of person. And the type of person like us, perhaps, where it's like, yeah, I can completely switch gears. If I want to decide I'm going to, yeah, tackle churches and we're just going to be like, oh, yeah, I want to really focus on cleaning churches, that's what we're going to do. And then if, tomorrow I'm at, an NFL game and it's like, you know what? Let's go back to that. I'm going to really focus on pro athletes again and let's do, you can get inspiration from anything. And I just find that obviously so appealing. And that's just what gets me excited all the time. So,
Well, obviously, everything you just said, I'm sure all of our listeners are like chomping at the bit to hear more details about that. But I want to circle back, just coming back to what you said a little bit earlier about you are now your customer more so now that you've had a child. And talk to me about, because you have this marketing background, right? So I really want to pick your brain about that. I love marketing as well. It's my favorite part, the branding, the marketing. That's like the sexy stuff, right?
me
And
too.
talk to me about the importance of not just knowing your customer, and you just said you are now more your customer, but the importance of being able to communicate that you know them, right? Because I think a lot of our owners that are listening right now, they know their customer, but they don't utilize that to the fullest in their branding and marketing at all. Because when you go to their website, when you go to any of their communication, it's just like everybody else. And it's like, you have so much right there just by being your customer. We are our customer, right?
I think that is like so, like what you're saying is the most important thing. If you really can believe that the best way you can ever sell anything is by selling to yourself. I mean, it's just, it makes so much sense. So, like, I don't need to sell to, a 50-year-old man, in Dallas when I can sell to a 46-year-old woman in Houston, with a young daughter. Like, I know what my needs are. I know what my struggles are. I know that and again, I know what stresses me out. I know what a cleaner would do for me, and I know what is going to stop me from buying a cleaner. It's not the money, it's the stress. So it was always the stress for me, even when I was 25 and started this. So it was like, I can't be told I need to clean up before the cleaner comes. Like, that is so stressful for me, or like they're judging me, or also all of that. So I made sure that I had in all of my communications, and of course my background is corporate communications, but I am very clear that you don't have to clean up. So, you don't have to worry about putting everything away. Now, again, we charge by the hour for our initial cleanings. And, so I don't, that's a little bit different from everyone, who might flat rate, but you can always put a caveat
Yep.
in there, of course. But it's like, if that's what you're stressed out about, don't stress about it. We are completely judgment free. We will come in, we will do everything we can. Again, if that is your thing. If that's not your thing, if you're different. So again, I have a husband, he's completely different. He would be like, that's ridiculous. Of course you clean up before the cleaners come. Then great. He can run a different kind of cleaning company where it's like, I'm going to sell to someone just like me. Of course I clean up before the cleaners come. I don't want to talk to them or meet them. I'll put a key under the mat, and then they come in and I just want to give a credit card and that's it. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to see anyone, that's a completely different cleaning company. You sell to those people. I will sell to the moms who are stressed out and worried and want a checklist and want their pets looked after and, and their kids, stuffed animals arranged, all of those little things. That's what I cared about. And that's what I wanted. And that's what I sell. And that's what I communicate. So again, there's a million different ways of doing it, just like there's a million different cleaning business owners out there. So whatever you want from a cleaning company, I really think that's what you need to sell, and that's how you design your business.
Mhm.
Don't sell to some mythical person out there what you think people want. Sell to what you want. Like seriously, what do you want? And again, my husband, like when we first met, I'd been doing this for a while, and he's like, I would never pay what you're
Yep.
and it was like, people do pay. And I had to convince him. And he's like, well, I believe you. I mean, you clearly do it. It's like, yes, people will pay this. Yes, they will pay it because again, I'm not selling to people who have never had cleaners before. I'm selling to people who have tried the independent cleaners, who don't show up, or it's uncomfortable because they have such a close relationship. And now they're like, oh, how do I tell so and
Yeah,
so
because
that like
they're
she
like an
keeps
employer
missing.
almost to them now.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So it's like I'm managing them. I don't like to complain. We're best friends. I give them my clothes. I give them Christmas cards. It's like, okay, or I can just call the office and say, guess what? They missed this again. Can I try a different team next week? So again, there's a million types of customers, a million different ways of doing this. So like really feel what you genuinely would pay for and what would make you pay again premium prices too, and then sell that to people and you will find those customers so easily. Again, if it's genuine and then that's what you're passionate about, you will speak that language. And again, everyone who speaks that same language as you, it'll just naturally happen in your marketing. And you're exactly right again about, especially now with like AI and like, oh, you can just type a few things into Wix or Squarespace and everyone ends up with the same website, same logo, same everything. It's like, how do you expect to differentiate your cleaning company from that cleaning company? Everything looks the same, everything sounds the same. It's even worse than it was a few years ago. So yeah, I mean, you really have to figure it out. And I mean, if you love dogs, then talk about how you're the most pet-friendly, dog-friendly cleaning company in the world. You bring, a pet-approved treat every time you come. You learn their names, you'll let them out, and here's all the precautions we take. And if you want to add a walk onto the service or, whatever it is, but like you can differentiate yourself that way. If you love kids, then what do you do for the kids? You can organize their toys when you're there. I mean, again, there's just limitless ways of doing this, right? So I mean, just figure it out and think about what, again, what you would pay for. And again, to me it just writes itself. I think it's so easy once you figure out what you genuinely want and are willing to pay for, figure it out.
I couldn't
It
agree
just
more that it's like I find it so effortless to sell residential cleaning because it's like
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
talking to myself
yeah,
basically, even though
yeah,
I don't have kids yet, but it's like, okay, what can I connect with that stressed out feeling? Yeah, like you said, it's that stress relief. And for me, I find it incredibly useful to analyze every single interaction or experience I have with any service, not just house cleaning, of like, what really pissed me off about this? And it's like,
yep,
okay, clearly I highly value effective communication, professionalism, friendliness, right? Like I like all of these things that I value
yes.
because I'm really bothered when they are lacking in an interaction. And so it's like, okay, take that and put it into your cleaning business.
Exactly. And you can learn that exactly from every interaction you have. So, that being said, like what you're saying is exactly right. So, I would notice it I mean, and I still do, of course, constantly, even though now, like as a business consultant, it's like my job really. But I always noticed it, even, as a young person before I started business. And that's probably why I was so determined that I could do it. It's like I would notice it everywhere I go. So it was like, okay, I go for a massage or something. And as I'm having the massage, I'm stressed out because I'm like, how do I pay for this? Do I tip? It's like I don't know any of these questions are like all these questions are spinning around my head. And it's like I don't want to be rude. I don't know how to so it's like again especially with residential cleaning, how do I answer every question so they don't have any stress whatsoever? And that to me was always number one. It's like, how do I ensure? Because again, a customer can cancel anytime, right? Like, so there's no guarantee leading up to this appointment that they're even going to keep the appointment. So how can I smooth everything over so that they don't cancel? So again, they instantly know when they book or before they book. And then again, you have to like hit them, several times. So before they book, as soon as they book, automated emails, 24 or 48 hours before their appointment, how to prepare for the appointment, what to expect, reminder of how they're going to pay, how we run the credit card or whatever it is. How do they prepare? Do they have to pick anything up? Should they make their bed? What do they do with their pets? If they have any other questions, how can they reach out to you? All of those things, right? What if they want to add an oven cleaning at the last minute? What else could they add at the last minute? Just everything. Because again, like right at the last minute, people can get concerned and stressed out. And then like, oh my gosh, like, oh, those cleaners are coming. Oh, like, right. And that's it. And, I think that intimate, and that's where, again, I've analyzed this for so many years, the psychology especially. It's like I can't think of anything. I've never been able to think of anything that is more intimate than having a cleaner in your house. Like what? I mean, and again, there's so many things that are kind of like us. Like, okay, we can look at, five-star hotel experiences. Sure. Housekeeping, concierge service. Yes. Lots of, parallels, but that's a hotel. All the rooms are the same. The cleaning's the same. They're not, but you know what I mean, right? Towels are the same, etc. Right? The standards. Okay, fine. But that's not the same. And that's their hotel. That's not your
At your
personal
home,
property.
yeah.
Right. So and then, okay, great. We have plumbers. Yeah. But they just come in and they work on your sink. So you can maybe tidy up your bedroom. They have to come into your master bathroom. They're there and then they're gone. That's it. That's very different. Having somebody literally come in to every square inch of your house, often while you're not even home, clean, and there is just nothing like having a house cleaner. It is such a completely unique experience. So, you know, we just have to do everything we can to make people feel comfortable. And again, we also have a bit of an uphill battle because we often don't have the best reputation. We're right. Like the second people's backs are turned, sometimes our employees, cut corners. Often there's
Deal,
theft,
there's
I mean,
stuff that happens. Yeah, of course. We've all
things
experienced that.
happen.
Like,
Horror stories all the time, right? We've all had them. We all hear about them the second we talk to our friends about hiring a cleaning company. People have horror stories, right? So there's just so much that we have to do as cleaning business owners. And again, I think it all comes down to just communication, and again, it's corporate communication. So effective pieces, effective emails, little PDFs that we attach to emails that they can download and read while they're at work, and say, okay, yeah, I'm going to prepare. I have all my questions answered, excellent websites, all of that stuff. It's really, really simple. And again, once it's set up, it's there and it just like works for you 24 hours a day. And I've been like, saying this for at least, I mean, it's been 10 years now with Glisten Academy. 10 years I've been saying checklist, checklist, checklist.
yes.
And I still have never received even a checklist in my life from any cleaning company. And I have lived in several cities now, hired all kinds of, cleaning companies. No one gives me a checklist, and a lot of people I work with still don't leave checklists or even have digital checklists or anything, right? And it's like that goes so far in like informing customers what you're doing. Customers have no clue. We think they do. We think they know how hard we work. They don't know. And again, the thing with cleaning is it's an invisible thing. Like they don't know that you've dusted the vents because the dust isn't there. And especially people who aren't, great cleaners themselves, they don't know. They don't know the 100-point things that you did. So if we don't explain that to them, they just don't have a clue, So there's so much that we can inform them. And, even little things like, oh, we don't charge a travel fee, or, we don't charge this or, like all that stuff. It's like, oh, right, I never thought about that. But yeah, they have to drive all the way to my house. I never thought of that. Like all these things are included in the cost. So anything you can do to, again, just communicate and educate, your customers. Just I mean that's just what I do, and that's what makes you stand out so much. And again, ultimately command the best prices, and people will pay for that, as you know.
Absolutely. And really what you're talking about is communicating value, because it's like, regardless if the value is there or not, if you are not communicating that to the customer proactively before we even close the deal, like, I'm so happy you said checklist. All of our listeners are like, Stephanie, you beat our heads against the wall about checklists, but it is the number one reason Serene Clean like grew the way it did. I swear to God, is like
I believe you.
We had this checklist, right? Because it's like this cornerstone, this foundation of like, this is
Hmm.
what we do. And from a training perspective, from a quality control perspective, from a sales perspective, like a checklist is so integral.
There is a whole book I read once. I think it might be called Checklist. I don't even know, but it's like literally because it's like it seems like the silliest thing on earth. And again, I'm such a digital person too, but there are certain times where it's like just a piece of paper is the most effective thing on earth. And this book was even just about it was about like how neurosurgeons use checklists in the operating theater. Like you have to. There is nothing more effective than a simple checklist, you know? And again, when you're right, it's about, to me it's about accountability. And again, even me, like often, if I'm sneaking into a customer's house, I know they're not home, and it's like I'm just doing a quality check. If I know that I have to sign off on it, Katie, like, who was this approved by? And I have to put my name on there. You can, I know, like, did I really check? Like, do I have to go check that shower again? Like, if I'm going to put my name on it, that really means something. And that's like, sort of all goes back to like simple accountability. When people think that they're anonymous, again, they come in, they slip out, and they don't have to sign their name to something. Yeah, that's very different. The second that they have to say, and like you'll see that all the time, right? Like all the time. Oh, my cleaners were great. Who were your cleaners? Did they even know? Most of the time they don't. What's wrong with knowing your cleaners' first names? I used to give my cleaners always like business cards with even just their first name so they could leave it. As soon as they know, like Angela was the cleaner, that's a big difference. Angela, this is me. My name is on this. I'm not just like that. Accountability is everything. Responsibility, accountability. You have to put your name on something. You're not anonymous anymore. That is the easiest way to improve everybody's, performance instantly.
No, it really
Don't let
is.
them be anonymous.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like, okay, if a neurosurgeon needs to use a checklist to make sure scissors don't get sewn up in somebody, why do we think that we as cleaners shouldn't be using a checklist, right? Like, and it's just
Exactly.
going to make it easier. Like,
Exactly.
it's like anything we can do to make our cleaner's job easier, which it helps take the thinking out, right?
Yes.
Like, if we can remove thinking and just doing, just have
Exactly.
them
That's
do.
exactly it. Well, again, we talk about mental load, mental labor.
Mhm.
That's what this is. That's what we're taking away from our customers. That's what we need to take away from our staff, from ourselves, again, from our customers too. When a customer comes home and says, wow, they did this and they did this and they did
Mhm.
this, holy moly, right? Like that's a big difference from coming home, no checklist. Were the cleaners even here?
Mhm.
Doesn't smell that like were they here? I don't know. What it doesn't look that different. They come home, they see a checklist right on that kitchen island or whatever, you know what I mean? Like the big difference. Everything to me, again, I've been doing this for so long and again, I this was all my sort of hunch years and years ago when I started. It's all psychology. I'm not like necessarily much better cleaner than the next cleaning company out there or the next cleaning business owner, but everything is about explaining it properly and showing them why it's so much better. And that's what I am good at, like with, again, just because that's always what I've been interested in is, again, marketing and communications. And it's not about tricking people, it's not about sales, it's about explaining it, it's about showing it in the easiest, most non-friction, kind of way, where people are just like, I get this, I understand this, and it makes sense, and I love it. And like, I love this company because they just take everything off my shoulders and nothing is a hassle. It's not like one more thing that I have to worry about. My credit card's on file. They show up when they say they're going to show up. It's, again, no hassle whatsoever. I'm not dealing with, they couldn't get in, they were locked out, whatever. Everything's on file. They know how to get in the house. I don't have to ask them or tell them or remind them, don't clean my office or don't, everything is handled like, right? Like that's just how it should be. And if you can do that, and again, that to me is all about you as the business owner doing all of that work up front. You have to do the work. It's not about being, like again, here I am almost 20 years later. I'm not just delegating everything to managers, delegating everything to VAs. Like I am in this business day in and day out, very, again, passionately running it, making sure that everything is up to my standard all the time. And I just, I can't ever speak to saying like, I'm just going to walk away from this and not pay attention. I've never seen it work and I can't speak to that. That to me is, I just can't speak to it. So for me, it's like you have to set the standard and you have to make sure that it's done. Um, So again, that's just what I think and what has been successful for me. You just have to oversee it yourself and again delegate, but also be accountable yourself. Like I am very big on being like still the face of my business all the time. I still send out the invoices myself. If any and not gatekeeping either, because that's like a problem. Um, is people who are not available, business owners who can't be contacted. So if you're always sort of through an assistant and nobody can get a hold of you. I had that issue once. I didn't realize what was going on, but it's like sometimes people want to tell you something or like there maybe something suspicious is going on and they can't get a hold of you. So I think that's really important too, is that even, let's say even when you're sending out an email marketing campaign or social media, that you always have sort of a direct line or direct email so people can get a hold of you and alert you of any issues directly before it goes onto some terrible Google review or something too.
Do you mind sharing what happened in that situation that made you kind of reconsider about having that direct line?
Absolutely. So, what happened was, and I always have had a direct line. This happened a while back. So, I had a manager. So, when I moved back from the Toronto area back to the other side of the country in Canada a few years ago, I had a manager. So, I had a designated manager out in Toronto area. And so she was sort of running the day-to-day operations there. And she actually made like a fake email address, like all this stuff. And yeah, and she was sort of funneling things through that way. She ended up actually defrauding me
Holy
for,
crap.
I would say, quite a lot, tens of thousands of dollars actually. And then like just little things like I mean, a lead would come in and what she did is so I would see the lead and she would respond to it, but then she would go and either text them separately or email them through a separate email account and and then she would do the job and then she would pull my staff that I was paying their payroll
Holy
and she
shit.
would yeah, I'm not kidding. And she would take the money, so she would redirect it in like in the US, it's like a Venmo style. In Canada, it's like an email money transfer. So she made like Canadians would understand this. We email money transfer. So she would say, don't email Glimmer, cleaning. Like it was, Katie well, hello at payments, let's say at glimmercleaning.ca. It was glimmercleaning at Gmail, so it was just like, oh, just send the money here. And so everything was getting routed directly to her personally. It didn't take me that long to figure it out, to be honest. But it did take me a little while and a lot of money and, things got diverted actually. And it's taken 2 years, but in December 12th is actually her sentencing date. So just so
Is
you
she
know,
going to prison for that?
she won't go to prison, I'm sure, but she has pleaded guilty, so it is in the courts. It's public, so it is yeah, it's real. It's all out there for the world to see. So it is true, but in terms of like money getting back, like I haven't seen any money, of course, and I probably never
Yeah.
will. So I mean, again, like there's a lot of lessons in there too, because again, this happened only a couple years ago to me, and again, I'm pretty sophisticated at this point in terms, but when somebody really does want to rip you off, like they're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And a lot happened in a very short amount of time and I just didn't realize. So, I would say, especially for like software and things like, using like a ZenMaid sort of system, 100% worth every penny because again, like, when people try and do things through like a Venmo or, email money transfer, like I know again, it's like, oh, cool, we can accept payments that way. Sometimes we save ourselves the processing fee, but it's not worth it. Like none of that would have happened if I had only had credit cards on file. You know what I mean? So she still could have done some stuff. Again, that's like a whole other story that, I could definitely talk about for a long time and what I learned. And again, that, when I was very naive too because no one had ever defrauded me
Sure.
before.
Yeah.
And I really thought that, and I'd never had like a manager who sort of had any access to like any sort of, being able to take
The
checks to the
finances.
bank
Yeah.
and deposit or anything, right? I'd never done that before. So and I always thought like, well, if anyone did anything like that, like, oh, they'd get in trouble for it, right? Yeah, I didn't realize that there really is not a lot of recourse. And, initially the police were not interested at all in doing anything for me. So,
Wow.
yeah, so I eventually was able to get something. But yeah, I mean, the reality is you just lose your money. And I would hate that, to see that happen to other people. So anything I can do to, I've learned quite a lot in the past couple of years too. So a lot that I can do to help other cleaning business owners learn from both, a few different things that have happened to me recently that I would definitely like to warn people about too, because yeah, oftentimes you just lose the money and that's that. So
Yeah, and obviously the most likely person that unfortunately this is going to happen is going to be your most trusted people, right? Unfortunately, because they're the ones with the access, your managers, and it's very emotionally devastating. Can you walk me through your emotions of discovering this and the aftermath immediately? How
yeah.
did you grapple with that?
Well, it was really uh it was definitely like upsetting because uh again, I had trusted this person for sure, which is and it was new for me because like I said, when I had my cleaning business, my initial cleaning business for 8 years before the pandemic, and then sort of this was during the pandemic, I started my second one. And so when I had moved. So sorry, we had moved across the country and I'd started in a different market. And so this was very new for me to give somebody that, I guess trust that I was going to sort of let her run it while I moved back to the other side of the country. And she was excellent, like very intelligent, very well spoken, and I talked to her every day. It's not like I wasn't paying attention, so it was oh, and it was just like, and I'm a like very ethical person. Like if you're not happy with your cleaning, like it's pretty much no questions asked. Like here's a full refund. I'm not interested in arguing with people. I don't want your money if you're not happy. Like, employees I treat well. I'm just not that type of person. And, what happened when I discovered this fraud and I found out that she was actually pulling my employees from other jobs, like commercial jobs, she went and then wrote a letter to one of my biggest clients and said that I was the one pulling them from these jobs and I was overbilling them and stuff. So
Oh my
luckily, yeah.
God.
And I mean, luckily they didn't believe it. And then what actually happened too is when I found this out, I then sent an email to all of my like residential customers and said, this is sort of what has happened. This is sort of what I've discovered. I don't know exactly like the extent of it, but if any of you have had cleanings and sent any money to this person, this email address, this phone, or written checks to this person, this is not me. This is not my company. This is her. Anyway, it was very complicated. And then I did get some customers, of course, that said yes, like, and this had all sort of happened in the previous, like, let's say month, but it was sort of like, yes. And then a lot of them were like, and you know what? We're not very happy with the cleaning either. One person like wanted a refund of like, over $1,000. And of course, I never got any of
Oh
that
my
money.
gosh.
She had that
Yeah.
money. So what do you think I did? No
Yep.
problem, like no problem, right? Like,
Ooh.
I didn't get the money, but here's $1,000 back, because like it's just like that's the right thing to do as far as I'm concerned, right? So yeah, it was an expensive mistake in many, many ways. And again, the police didn't have a lot of empathy for me either. So don't think that they're going to be on your side
Yeah.
because they were not. They were basically like, it's your fault. And I was like, it's not my fault. Like, there's really nothing I could have done. I mean, she, it was very like victim blamey to me. But yeah, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know what else could I have done. It's not like she had access to my bank accounts or anything like that either. She just, like I said, she completely like,
Was rounding
imagine if
away
you have
the
a
pay.
client.
Yeah, like I'm.
Like imagine a lead comes in, right? So okay, it comes into your thing and then you send the quote out. You don't hear back from them. Fine. This happens all the time, right? You as an owner, do you think to follow up and say, hey Tim, I noticed you didn't hire us. Like, well, yes, I did hire you because actually your manager messaged me from their company phone, let's say, but like you're not reviewing it. They have their own company phone or whatever, or they have their Gmail account or whatever it was that they did. So she just would like contact them separately and then say, oh, okay, well, here's the quote, or like, oh, let me give you a discount. And then she just redid the quote or whatever it was she did. And then she just like was doing side deals with people. So, and I mean, we're used to this in a in a different way, right? As cleaning business owners, we understand that our cleaners can make like those sort of deals with customers. Let's say if they want to do a cash, we're kind of, but this was more of a sophisticated sort of operation, right? So, and then to actually like pull my own staff and me not knowing that they were going to do cleaning jobs for other people, and then she was taking those payments. Yeah, it was again like quite a sophisticated
Very much
operation.
so, because
So,
I'm literally thinking, I'm like, that I mean, I'm like, that could happen in my own business. Not that I think any of my
it
managers, but it could probably happen in all of ours.
It could. It could happen in all
Yeah,
businesses.
that's great.
Absolutely. So again, and like, I'm sure like anyone who's familiar with my stuff, I talk a lot about the like the mystery shopping, the secret, like having those customers who report back. And because that business had only like I just started it at Christmas time, right? Like it was so new. And then I moved across the country in June. So it was only like 6 months old when I left. I didn't have, again, like I say, runaway freight train. It was so busy so quickly. Once again, I didn't have time to implement the things that I talk about. And one of the things I talk about is having mystery shoppers. So it's like if I'd had that, where I had customers literally saying to me, this is what I did. This is what I booked. This is what happened. These are the cleaners who came. This is what they did. This is how I paid. Or, even I'd had mystery shoppers who were like, I asked for a quote. This is what happened. This is if I'd had that, any kind of feedback, maybe I would have caught it much, much earlier, but I didn't. So, there was definitely things that I thought, oh, or like, again, like you're saying, and again, even with residential right now, I have a bit of a different setup with one of my US based businesses. And it's like, I have no clue. Like, again, the churn rate with new customers is very, very different from what I'm used to. And it's a bit of a different business model. And it's like, I don't believe for a second that those cleaners aren't, potentially making side deals all the time with those people because it just doesn't make sense to me. So again, it's like, okay, do I again like how do I start figuring out what's going on, right? So, when people know that those customers might be, telling you specifically, working for you and telling you what's going on. Hey, did you know that? Because I mean, I've had that in the past for sure without even mystery shoppers saying to me, oh, just so you know, like your cleaner offered to come in and do this for cash, right? And again, like it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that anybody can enforce non-compete,
No.
clauses anymore. I don't think that exists, right? So in either country. So it's the cost of doing business, and we all can understand that sometimes part of doing business is we have to understand that it can sort of be an introductory service to some degree.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. So then what can we do as business owners? Well, we have to make sure that we want our clients to work with us. So, not to, hire people on the side, our own staff, and we want our staff to work for us and not make side deals with our customers, right? So that again, that's a whole other, sort of thing that we have to do. And, you can't stop people, right, from doing what they want to do. But sort of what can we do as both finding customers who aren't interested in that, and again, if you sort of have that luxury cleaning business model, you will have customers who aren't interested in making side cash deals. They're not looking for that with your with your employees or with anyone, right? They want to go through a reputable company. They've already tried all that, and or they're just not interested, right? So that's sort of what the aim is for sure.
Yeah, and I always make the joke of at any given time I'm probably training one of my competitors because like that happens. Your cleaners
Yeah,
go
it
on to
does.
do that, and
And that's right. I mean, and there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. I mean, actually, a lot of the original, because my company back in Edmonton was quite small. I would say I only ever had 10, like, it was only 5 teams of two kind of thing. And I think almost every single one of those people is still like running their own cleaning company after, today. Like they all, people kind of scattered throughout the country and stuff. I've got one out in Halifax, Jen, she's still running an incredibly successful company. right? I mean, I think that's great.
That's
Like, again, we
fantastic.
can't, right? We
Can't
don't want to
control
just
it.
keep
Yeah.
people. No, exactly, right? I mean, that's insane, right? Of course. And I mean, look at me. I mean, I only did marketing for 3 years before I went out and started a cleaning company. And, right? So, like, nobody back at my old organization's mad at me for doing that, right? So, you have to be very realistic as
Yeah.
to, what business. And again, you can't, yeah, I mean, that would be a very, immature, I guess, way of
Well, and
looking
like really
at
like
business
like
too,
what you
right?
talked about of like, okay, most likely, frankly, a lot of the cleaners that we have that are going to go branch out and do their own thing, like they're might not have the business savvy, right? So if we have the business savvy
Absolutely.
and can just
Hmm.
focus on what we can differentiate compared to an individual cleaner, which most likely they are going to remain an individual cleaner, well then it's
That's
not
right.
competition. It's fine. They're going to be selling to different people, right? So I just don't
Absolutely.
concern
And
myself about that.
you can't, because again, I think like the biggest difference, and I mean, a lot of people call themselves an entrepreneur, but it's like, and I hear it all the time or see it all the time, but it's like until you have staff, once you have actual staff that you have to manage and you have to train and you have to teach and you have to, that is where everything changes, right? And like that's where it's a completely different thing. Of course, when and I don't think a lot of people plan on that. Like I never planned on being a boss. Like I didn't know that one day this was going to be, what I was going to be. Like I didn't know this. So I had never been a boss. I'd been a coach, like coached swimming for a long time and things like that, but I was never a boss of people. And so for a long time, I had to figure that out. It's like, how do I teach people and train them and motivate them and teach them how to clean? And again, that was like, everyone thinks, not everyone, but it's sort of like you think, okay, well, I'm an excellent cleaner. So again, like, once we were excellent cleaners, now it should be easy. We just like hire all these people and like we just show them how to clean. This should be so easy. And it's like, of course, it was not easy at all. That took years and years to figure out. And we had to figure out how to teach people now how to clean. So how do you clean professionally? Okay, let's figure that out. And then everything else on top of that, because it's like, not only do you have to teach people how to clean, and I always say that it's like, if everyone could just show up and do their job,
I'd be a millionaire.
you you wouldn't need managers, you wouldn't need bosses, right? But it's not about that. It's about everything else. It's about all the, like, yes, of course, like all the issues that happen all day, every day. And again, this is where the humanity comes into play. So of course, it's, the emotions and the friendships and the politics and all the issues. So it's like, that was like a huge learning curve. And that's where, that's sort of phase two, I would say, once you sort of get going. And then maybe after that, that's when you start to be able to have your own managers who now are managing all your staff. And then you just get to sort of manage the managers and stuff, right? And, that's where I am nowadays, right? Which is much, much, much easier for me.
Very, very much I can relate of like it's the stress comparatively pre manager to now is very very different and I am just so incredibly curious just about obviously you mentioned having US operations and Canadian operations. Can you just give me a brief timeline of you're mentioning locations and things like this, like what did that look like, as well as kind of like the size of the business from like a staffing perspective, if you can even like just
Sure.
loose generalities, because now I'm sure everybody's like, how big is your business, because like you've got lots.
Yes. So currently, I have in Canada, so we have 3 locations, so 3 cities, and I would say about 30 employees in Canada. And then so I just moved to Texas in March of this year, and I have a location, so here in Houston, so we're just getting started here. And then I have Washington, D.C. as well. So about maybe just like 5 in Washington. So smaller for sure. So just, I think, and is that everything? Yeah, that's everyone. Yeah. So definitely bigger still in Canada. And again, just sort of getting started here in Houston. So definitely have big plans. I'm in one of the biggest, sort of like most fast growing areas of Texas for
Mhm.
sure. So definitely have plans to build it quite large here.
Yeah,
So
hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeehaw.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
amazing.
Yeah, it
So,
should be
yeah,
good.
I mean, I would love, okay, so first off, my first question about having the multiple locations, because in Serene Clean,
Hmm.
we're regional in Western Wisconsin. We have 3 locations, but they're
Okay.
all managed by one central management team, and they're all within like driving distance. We can pull cleaners from each. So it
Right.
sounds like the cities that you serve in Canada, are they like they're completely separate from each other? And do you, if yes or no? And then 2, do
Yes.
you have, okay, do you have uh, an in-person manager at each? That's what I'd love to hear.
Okay, so yes, let me explain. They're all very different. So again, like everything is so different. So in in one location and I'll sort of say the Toronto area, there's about 25 employees. I have a manager overseeing things there. So that's definitely the biggest region. And that's where I lived during COVID. So that's where we moved. That's where we started during COVID. And that's where we were there for about 6 months before we moved back to Edmonton. In Edmonton, it's smaller. We only lived there for maybe a year, 2 maybe years before we came down to Texas, maybe 2 years. But so we didn't do a lot of growth in Edmonton, and that was again mostly because we've been like we've just been so busy back in Ontario. So my like 90% of what I do is still very, very focused back in Ontario. So that is like definitely the biggest area, and that's where we're very focused. And then as well, so we have another location kind of closer to the Windsor area, and that is more with school contracts. So I have more like school custodians there, and then they're very like independent, like very very mature and very well run. So I have like 2 of them that sort of are like senior capacity that run everything, and then like some assistant custodians there. And then that's like a whole other sort of different thing as well. So school contracts with district school boards, and then in the Toronto area, we have like government contracts and like just a whole variety of stuff. So lots of commercial cleaning. It's all commercial cleaning. So everything's commercial, and then as well in Edmonton, it's all commercial cleaning as well. And then Edmonton, I don't have like I would say I don't have a manager there. So I sort of with the Edmonton, it's sort of the model I did with residential, where I sort of have just a few cleaning teams, and they're just very, very like I sort of have somebody assigned who's in charge of each cleaning team, and they just sort of manage sort of their own portfolio of clients very well. And that's we have some government contracts there as well. So again, it's commercial, so very different from residential. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so amazing. So I don't know if it's the same terminology in Canada, meaning W-2 versus independent contractor. Are you running strictly employees in Canada, or are some of them independent?
Yes.
Okay.
No, they're all employees.
Okay.
So I do both here in the US. So I have sorry, so in Canada they're all employees. In the US, I have the 1099s,
Hmm.
and then I will have W2s as well.
I gotcha. I'm assuming in DC
So
they're
both, yeah.
1099s, just based on distance, or how are you running them in DC?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, exactly. So the reason that we have 1099s and I'm doing sort of the remote business model that way is because we purchased that business. So that business was purchased
I gotcha.
last year. Yeah. So that's how, and that was part of being able to move into the US.
Oh, I
Hmm.
see. I got
Yeah.
you. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah, that's
wow.
that's why we purchased. Otherwise, I just would have started one, but it was easier as a like an investor
I,
in order to move down
I,
here.
I
Yeah, so
had,
I have family in
yeah.
Texas, and that's why we
Oh,
wanted to
okay,
come
that's so
down.
funny. I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
one of my guests earlier on. She's a Canadian who lives in Texas,
Okay.
and she,
Oh, really?
yeah, of course I can picture her, beautiful blonde, just like you, and she, oh gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts that I can't think of her name, but she literally helps other foreign owners
Oh,
find
really?
companies to buy so that they can
Oh,
get that
wow.
visa. Yeah, so it very, very much,
Oh, that's so
yeah,
interesting. Oh, I'll have to
yeah.
get to know who she is.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It is
Wow.
fascinating because I was going to ask, like, why buy? You know what I mean? Like, frankly, like
Oh,
I
definitely.
have
Yeah.
never been like it. I buying a cleaning company has just never been like something that I'd ever feel. I mean, maybe I'd consider it, but
Mhm.
honestly, I'm just like, well, I know how to build one. Why would I buy one? Like, do you feel the same way if you didn't have to do the visa thing? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of like, even when I drive around, like there's a lot of
Yeah.
franchises and stuff. And I'm like, why would anyone
I
buy this?
know.
But like, as somebody who like really wanted to move here, again, very family oriented. I have family here and we really wanted, again, because we had the daughter now and it was like, oh, we really need some family. And it was a long time ago that my mom's older brother moved down like ages and ages ago, like ages in the 60s, I think it was, he moved down here and then started his family down here. So all those people are growing up with kids and stuff. So I have all this family down here and not a lot back in Canada. So it was very important for us, to sort of have family for her. And so that's why we had to start looking at how we could get down here. And yeah, that was sort of the option presented to us by an immigration lawyer. So we thought, okay, we got to find one to buy. So that's what we did. Yeah, it
Wow.
was kind of the simplest way to get it done. So that's why we did it.
That
Yeah.
makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. So I'd love to hear any of your observations. I know it's still, a little bit early on when
Mhm.
it comes to differences
Sure.
between running a business in Canada versus America, because I just, as an American, my perspective of
Yeah.
talking to Canadians, like, oh my gosh, the regulation and laws are so much more challenging and the taxes in Canada. Do you feel that that is accurate, or is that me being really American right now?
Well, you know what? So because it's a 1099 situation, I don't have to deal with any of that. So in terms of that, I would definitely say it's a very attractive business model. Definitely with Canada, and like all the Canadians will understand, like it is a lot of work. I mean, in terms, but obviously starting here. So now, of course, I've registered the business down here in Texas and I've looked at all the regulations and, the insurance and the workers' comp and everything. It's very, very similar. I don't think that there's going to be much of a difference in terms of, I mean, small business
Yeah.
is small business, right? They get you everywhere they can with taxes
Yeah.
and everything. And I think the IRS is just as scary as CRA. So I've,
Good to know.
I mean, I don't know yet. We're like, again, I'm just like, okay, we're just getting started with all that stuff. But there's definitely things to learn for sure. But I think it's nothing that an accountant can't help with.
Yeah.
So it's always a matter of just making sure you've got it sorted out before you sort of get going, because once you do, like I said, you'll be in over your head. So it's important to get that stuff figured out right away. And so again, that's sort of what we're like, kind of just laying all the foundation right now before we really start taking off. And again, like I've been interested in doing both residential and commercial here. Like again, I mean, I love
Both are great.
residential, I
I know
like
what you mean.
commercial.
Yeah.
I love them both, so it's like, and I mean, there's a huge need for residential here, of course. So it's like, it's so hard not to do it, right? And I love it. So, I'm just sort of like, I don't know, right? There's just so much to do, and there's only one of me, and I only have so much time in the day. So, like, we'll see what happens, right? And like, I'm just a big believer in, just like not forcing anything too much. Like, opportunities will just come, and we're just out there, like, sort of meeting people, networking, doing some chamber of commerce, meetings here and there, and just, getting to know people and stuff around town. So, like, again, I mentioned the churches because, like, they're just being built everywhere and homes being built everywhere. It's just like tons of opportunity, right? So, it'll all just happen naturally as it always does. So, in a couple years, maybe we'll sit down and have another conversation and things will be
Totally different.
have really taken off, right? So, let's hope that would be
Oh,
great.
I hope that as well. And you mentioned that each of the locations kind of has their different niche, or somewhat of a different niche. You mentioned government
Mhm.
contracts, some are residential, some are more schools and things like that. Is there a particular reason that you went that route for each location, or it really was like an opportunity kind of fell into your lap in each of those places and that's why you went that way?
I would say like it's always sort of getting to know the market and seeing, like you said, sort of what presents itself. And again, what you're interested in at the time. Where we're situated in the Ontario, it's a smaller town. Again, sort of close to Toronto, but a lot of industrial work there. So we're in a lot of like, sort of plants and things like
Factories, yeah.
that. And then like I did get really in, I'm really really good at writing, proposals and stuff. So when, sort of a bunch of like government contracts came up, both in Edmonton and in Ontario, I just was really interested in writing those proposals and pursuing them. And, again, there's drawbacks to government stuff. Like the profit margins are very, very, very small. So again, like I wouldn't even recommend that to people who are just getting started. Again, the margins are so thin and they usually go to the lowest bidder, right? So, it's not necessarily the best way to build a business in the beginning. But 20 years into it, maybe when you have like lots of multiple contracts, it's a little bit more, kind of not a bad sort of stable way to have your business. Again, it just depends what you're interested in. And then, there's lots of things that I still enjoy in terms of residential. So again, like there's a lot where I'm situated sort of in suburbs of West Houston. There's lots of, massive, massive homes over here, as opposed to like Washington, D.C., where everyone is like basically situated in the tiniest little area and everywhere is like, under 1,000 square feet. So like, again, very different kind of type of cleaning, different type of client. Here we're looking at, 4,000 square foot jobs, right? With multi-person teams all the time. So again, it just sort of is knowing your market, but again, like just sort of the opportunities that present themselves as well. So, just pre-COVID too, that's when we were doing tons of the NHL player cleanings. So again, that just like, you clean for one NHL player, you start cleaning for every NHL player, in town, and, word just gets around. And so we were just doing a lot of that. So, I just think like, for me, it's always about just doing obviously the absolute best job you always can, giving everyone the best service that you always can. And, I guess it's the complete opposite of burning bridges. You're just always building everywhere you can, doing the best you can for everyone. And then just one thing always seems to lead to another. And then before you know it, you've got diverse contracts, diverse clients, cities everywhere. And you're just doing well all over the place. So, and again, I like lots of things that keep you interested in. And then you can also decide too, like, even with, I talk about residential, like there was a point there after a few years where I'm like, I don't want to do move out cleanings anymore. I don't want to do them. Like every time we do a move out cleaning, yeah, it's $1,000 plus. It's like, ka-ching. I mean, this seems great. But, at the same time, it's like usually a first time person. We all know first time customers are going to be like your hardest customers, the most likely to complain. First time, move out cleanings are very high standard. Sometimes you've got property managers who are looking to give you a hard time, or a landlord who doesn't want to give you, a deposit, the client the deposit back or something. It's just like sometimes things are working against you. So at one point, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, let's just take that off our service menu, So, I just think it's great to like sort of try all the different things, and then you'll just sort of figure out like post construction. Some people love post construction, some people love Airbnbs. Like, there's just certain things that you find, so enjoyable and so profitable, or, just they're so fun for you to do, or you're just naturally so good at it. And again, like just different markets. And that's sort of what I like too. We're just doing sort of different things. Like in Edmonton, we're doing like Medi spas and things like that. So we're doing a lot of that. And then, back in, Ontario, we're doing, like I said, like more of the municipal, like libraries and museums and schools and stuff. So again, it's just like, and then everywhere like makes me learn new things. So, with schools, like that's obviously very different from doing, Medi spas and things like that. So, you're just learning new things all the time. And I, even again, like I said, almost 20 years into it, it's like I'm learning new things every day, with cleaning, right? Like it's just always different. So, new projects, new markets, new types of cleaning, new everything. So, I just, it's definitely keeps you interested all the time.
Well, the word that's kind of coming to mind as you're describing all of this is like fluid, is that this whole thing has been very fluid, of trying different things, evolving, making decisions like, no, I don't want to do this. Even if the money is, we're the same way with vacation rentals, like they exploded with
Yeah.
COVID. We took on a bunch
Yeah.
and now we're like, F these, we don't like them. And so even though the money is good, but
The
like we
money
just
can be great.
don't want
Yeah.
to deal with it, where other people's experience is complete opposite, right? And so I love that you're kind of you're alluding to the fact of like there's a lot of ways to skin this cat, and there's not necessarily a wrong way. And you in your own businesses, like each location, you're doing multiple different kinds of business operations, right? Whether that is running teams or running individuals or ICs or W2s or all of the different ways we can run our business. Like you're kind of dabbling in literally all of them, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, at this point for sure. And I like, and I mean, I think that's what's so I it's just so fun, right? And I think I do. I mean, I think that's what keeps it so interesting. And I guess I sort of force myself, yes, to like I guess learn the new ways of doing stuff all the time. And I guess there is a certain, I guess, fearlessness, but also like a self-confidence. And I think that it just comes from doing it. I don't know any other way of becoming confident other than just doing it. And there was a post-construction job we did maybe about a year ago, and I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with some of it. It was a very specific, like one room is very, very specific, with like meat cutting equipment or something. And I was like, I don't have a clue, like, but I'm like, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to hire people who know what they're doing and we're going to figure this out. And, and like, you just do, you figure it out. And that's sort of kind of how I always have done it. It's like, you just like I've had people say that to me, like students, and it's like, well, how do I do it? It's like you just have to like it's not like fake it till you make it, but it's like if you set that promise, you have to rise to the
Correct.
occasion.
Mhm.
And maybe not everybody does that, but that's a certain type of integrity you have to have. So it's like if I'm going to do that, and you do have to surround yourself with people who can, obviously you have to hire the right people, you have to or you have to be willing too. And I'm willing, like I'm a very hands-on person. So I'm willing to put on the hard hat and go out there and, figure it out myself. That's always sort of how I've been. So it's like, if my crew isn't going to show up, then I'm going to go out there. I'm going to find my family, my friends. We're going to go out there and we're going to get the job done. Right. And that's sort of how it's always been. So, there's nothing about this that isn't like a lot of hard work. And, like again, you're rolling up your sleeves and doing it yourself sometimes, but it does pay off. I think like when you just keep working hard at it, and eventually it definitely does pay off. I
Yeah.
mean, again, I think the name of the podcast is, very, it can be very, very true.
Yes. Yeah. And rich in
you know,
so many ways, just obviously making lots of money.
Absolutely.
But it's like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy you brought up the self-confidence thing and that basic, the whole concept of
Hmm.
competence breeds confidence. That's one of my favorite sayings because it's like everybody who sees somebody like you is like, oh my gosh, like she just knew and like she's so lucky or whatever, all of these things that people say about successful people, right? But it's like, you didn't know what the F you were doing and you threw yourself into it and you figured it out. And every time you did that, you were literally teaching yourself, oh, I can figure this out. And once you've done
Yeah.
that enough, it's like, yeah, you become really like, I'm a super confident person because I'm like, I know I can
Hmm.
figure it out. I don't know how, but it's going to happen.
That, and you're exactly right. And what happens, honestly, is that is what clients and your staff pick
They
up
feel
on,
it.
because
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wants to buy from somebody who knows what they're doing, and everyone wants to work for somebody who knows what they're doing, and who isn't going to let them fail, and and again, like I will get the job done no matter what. Like I said, even if I have to be there, even if I have to drag my husband in, we're going to be there. We're going to get the job done, and that's what we do. And it doesn't matter what it takes, and again, like, yes, I've had friends show, many, many years ago, like a lot of my friends are still in university, when I started like with my residential and stuff. And sometimes, yeah, because we would clean around the university too. And it's like, sometimes they'd have to finish their class and come with me and we'd have to clean a house together and stuff. And it's like, or you get that person that calls in, like quits at 6 a.m. You wake up to the text message, like, sorry, I'm not coming in today. I'm never coming in
Yeah.
again.
Or they just
you
don't even
know?
show up and then like ghost.
or that, right? Yeah, right? And then it's like, yeah, like better hit the road, when you're out there. But it's like, eventually, like, and it's true, like that is where, and of course, I feel like there's just an onslaught these days of people who are trying to sort of, and not just, I don't mean our industry, I mean like just always,
Across, sell the dream of
it's
like
everywhere.
easy.
Absolutely. Like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
easy. Oh, you just do
Yeah.
this and you do that. It's like, no, no, there is. And like, if you look at anyone running a legitimate business in any industry, those people, They are not on the beach all day. They are working hard in their business. And I know people in, again, even family down here, people who, everyone in my family actually, I think, is an entrepreneur. They all have their own business. A lot of them, well, some of them even like, they have, it's like multi-generational, like they didn't start it, but they're, working for it now. But, they're all working every day. Everyone's working, it's like nobody is pretending like we don't work. We are working, working, working. And again, that is where the confidence comes from. And what is wrong with that? Like, I want to work, and I think if you're a real entrepreneur, like you, like me, like we love this stuff and we've got problems we want to solve. And that's what we're here. We have to figure things out and we have to find the clients. Like, I mean, that is what I want to do every day. I want to grow these businesses. I want new clients. I want new contracts. I want more staff. I want to grow this. That is what I want to do every day, right? And that's why I'm up at, usually like 4 a.m., but it's like I just am legitimately excited every day, like just to do this stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, and
I love it.
I love that because it's like it's not about not working; it's about enjoying our work, like being able to say,
Absolutely.
like, I love what I do, and so doesn't mean it's not shitty.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes, of course, like it's not.
No.
There's a lot of stress. Sometimes there's a
Mhm.
lot of responsibility, but that doesn't mean that it like. I don't think our goal should ever be necessarily like I don't want to work. It's like no, I want my work to be very meaningful and to make a great
That's right.
difference and yeah like
Yeah.
just fully enjoy it and I love that you've built this incredible powerhouse, multi-country powerhouse. It's just amazing. And so now I want to open it up. I want to hear about Glisten Academy. Where did that come from? What does that look like
Sure.
now?
Yeah. Yeah, so Glisten Academy started so again, actually, so when I started as a marketing specialist, I actually was approached by like local colleges in my town asking, because I was like kind of had a name for myself in my city for being a digital marketer. They wanted me to come in and teach digital marketing courses. So I started like actually when I was about, oh, this would have been like 2005, I started teaching digital marketing at the colleges there. And so I did that actually, for a long time. And then I started sort of, I was kind of always doing that. And then after my first cleaning company, my business partner and I like kind of went our separate ways. And I decided I was going to go into business consulting. And then I thought, well, why don't I do it under like a brand of like an academy? So I launched Glisten Academy in 2015. So it's been 10 years now. And so I, again, just did like, online courses and I taught in person as well. But I sort of launched the online academy. So I did like the online courses. So what I really wanted to do was make a staff training program, sort of that, cleaning companies could use for their own staff. So that was sort of the flagship program that I started because, again, I thought like that is the hardest thing to do is to teach people how to clean professionally. So I wanted to take the training program that I use successfully with my, professional cleaners and make that available to people, all around the world that they could use to teach their cleaners. I thought that would be the best thing I could offer, other cleaning business owners so they could buy it and implement it in their business. And then, of course, we have like, I've brought on other things like a business accelerator course and, to teach things like that and a mystery shopper course and a train the trainer course and a manager course and, sort of all of that stuff. Yeah. So that's been doing that. Well, I should say it's me, but, for 10 years now. I say we because there's like a lot of students,
Yes.
of course. So like a lot of cleaning business owners. So yeah. So I think like last time I looked, there was maybe like 6,000 or so students at the academy. So yeah, there's quite a few businesses represented, and a lot of people have been using the training courses specifically for their businesses, especially in the U.S., but also Australia and Great Britain and stuff. For many years now. So yeah, I've met a lot of like incredible people through Glisten Academy, actually working with a lot of clean business owners too. So it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, I love that, especially because honestly, training is one of the most challenging parts of the entire business. It's so hard. It's so
Absolutely,
hard
it
to do
is.
it like
It is.
scalably.
It 100%. It is the absolute hardest
Mhm.
part. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
know you had offered to have a little discount code for our listeners. Does that still apply? I believe.
Yes, absolutely. Of course. Yes.
Well,
Yes. Did we make one up
I
yet?
don't
Did
know.
I
We can
tell
make
you
one
what
up
it
right now. I mean, it's your
Let's make one
discount
up right now.
code.
Filthy,
Mm-hmm.
filthy 50.
Filthy
Make it
50.
that.
Hell yeah, let's do it. And what will our listeners get if they use that code?
50% off any courses that they want.
Oh my
So
gosh. We're going
yeah,
to leave that in the
yeah,
link below, guys. Definitely go check that
yeah,
out at Glisten Academy because
absolutely.
that's one heck of a discount code. So thank you so much, Katie,
Worth
for
it.
sharing that. And I want to check it now. I'm like, I need to go look at your courses because,
I'd love to hear what you
oh,
think
yeah.
for sure.
Well, yeah, training, yeah, like you said,
Yeah, we'll
it's such a
talk.
nightmare. So,
Yeah, I know. I know it is.
so what is this
It
year?
is.
Obviously, this year is almost done. What is 2026 looking like for you? What's the goals?
I would say definitely getting launched here in Texas. That would be it. It would be really fun. Again, I've been so running things like again remotely for so long now. So again, my head is like always picturing, Ontario, picturing Edmonton, picturing Washington. My head's always there. But I'm actually here, so it would be really nice to get some stuff going here too. And then again, just keep growing everywhere else too because and I fly around quite a lot. It's easy from Houston too, so we visit our other locations a lot. So yeah, just keep growing everywhere. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, I mean, I feel like it's certainly like a different phase, right? Like getting a much bigger sort of company and like other layers of management. So, that's kind of all new to me too. At sort of a different phase, I guess, of my own career is having more layers of management as well within my own company. So I would say bringing in definitely more managers and, just more administrative help as well. So I have more like virtual assistants and things like that these days. And again, just sort of scaling as much as I can while still being very, very involved. So yeah, that'll be a little bit different. But yeah, just I guess that growth.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
here we go.
I'm literally so inspired talking to you. Like you're an incredible woman. And I hope you're as proud
Thank you.
of your work as you should be, because that is like no easy feat to accomplish
I
what you
appreciate that.
have. And, I would love to have you on another episode
Well,
because I'm
you're
like, I
great
could keep
too.
talking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
We'll
we'll,
definitely have to talk again.
yes, yeah.
I'd
Maybe,
love to.
yeah,
Hopefully, I have lots more to report.
see how Texas is going. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yes. Well, that gives me a goal.
yeah, absolutely. So
I'd love to have something to report.
yes, ma'am. Other than Glisten Academy, where can people find you? Do you have social media that you want us to link?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Glisten Academy, I think it's glisten.cleaning academy, glisten.cleaning.academy, I think, for TikTok and Instagram. I'm not as active on there as I'd like to be, of course, because I'm so in the trenches still with everything. But and people can definitely email me like Katie at glistenacademy.com anytime. I'm very, very open, to talking and to helping people. Anytime anyone wants any advice, feel free to send me an email. I'm always open to answering. I'll answer any email I get, give you any advice I can. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely probably the easiest way. I have an assistant as well who like does check all my emails to make sure I don't miss anything. So I definitely will answer any email I get. So that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me for sure.
Very generous.
Yeah.
We'll definitely link all of that
Thank you.
information down below in the description. But
I
Katie,
appreciate that.
thank you. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you,
This has
Stephanie.
been,
So nice to
yeah, this
talk.
has been amazing. You're an amazing woman. I'm just so impressed right now.
Thank you. As are you.
And guys, leave Katie some love down in the comments. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and reach out to her if you're so inclined. Make sure you use that discount code Filthy50 to get 50% off any courses from her. And we will see you in the next episode of Filthy Rich Cleaners. Bye, guys.